Grenfell Tower had unfit lifts and unsuitable water mains, inquiry hears. The fire safety flaws that lay undetected for over a decade have been revealed by a fire safety expert during an inquiry into the tragedy. Dr. Barbara Lane, an expert witness who analyzed the fire for the investigation, said safety measures within the building were not suitable and many external materials flammable. She is one of 4 specialists due to give evidence about the tragedy this week, but did not provide an opinion about fire performance, which she is expected to give at a later date. Her forensic examination painted a picture of a refurbishment of the external wall and flat windows that was riddled with errors. The refit was overseen by the Kensington and Chelsea Tenant Management Organization and contractor Ryden between 2012 and 2016. Work done on the lifts in 2005 and 2012-16 left them unfit for evacuating the building of vulnerable residents and aiding the emergency response, Dr. Lane said on Monday. They lacked features including an escape hatch, a secondary power supply or doors that can resist a fire for 60 minutes, it was heard. The block's dry rise system, pipes through which the fire service pumped their own water into the building, was also said to go against statutory guidance. A gas pipe running from the basement throughout the building was installed in 2016 and remained exposed at key points during the fire, the expert continued. The riser, one of 6 running vertically up the block, moved horizontally into the flats, where it penetrated both the protected stairwell and flat wall. It had been installed after one pipe was found to have a gas leak and pierced a compartment wall in one flat on 13 floors of the tower. Dr. Lane said, the pipe should be fire-stopped at each compartment wall it penetrates, or enclosed with a protected shaft. I understand that these works to the horizontal pipes were planned for June 2017, although I have seen no evidence that any of these works had commenced by June 14, 2017. Dry rises rely on good water pressure to work against gravity, unlike wet mains, which summon water from a pressurized tank already within the building. Dr. Lane, a chartered fire safety engineer and director at Specialist Design Group Haroop, said, eventually a height is reached where the water pressure that can be delivered by a dry main cannot effectively operate a fire hose. For this reason, the statutory design guidance limits use of dry mains to buildings less than 50 meters in height. For a building that is 50 meters or more in height, there is a requirement to provide a wet fire main. Grenfell Tower was 67.3 meters in height, Dr. Lane's report said. Combustible material was found around the window frames, including plastic upclining, rubber EPDM sealant and insulation, while it had no cavity barrier to prevent the spread of flame. Cavity barriers intended to contain the spread of fire between floors were incorrectly installed, including a horizontal barrier installed vertically. There appeared to be no cavity barriers installed at the top of the tower either, the inquiry was told. The building regulations say any material used on a structure more than 18 meters in height should be of limited combustibility, which Dr. Lane defined as either a non-combustible material or a material that produced very little flame. The 24-story structure was originally built with walls that were entirely non-combustible, meaning a single system with no void or space within the exterior wall. Putting the failures in context, the experts said an effective firefighting lift counts as an active safety measure, while a fire main is a defense-in-place measure. The very basis of a stay-put policy requiring residents to remain inside during a fire, like that in place at Grenfell Tower, was these 3 measures working successfully, she continued. Dr. Lane's report, published a fortnight ago, said all of the flat entrance fire doors did not meet building regulation standards. Residents in the West London block were told to remain in their flats for almost 2 hours after the fire broke out, a decision which it is feared led to the disaster being so costly. The statutory guidance makes no provision within the building for anything other than a stay-put strategy, Dr. Lane said. The inquiry continues. If you have a story for our news team, email us at webnews@metro.co.uk. You can also follow us on Facebook and Twitter.